So the Seneschal's tax collector won't be coming around again like you asked. Funny story.
I'll pass, but thank you for the help.
Spoil sport. Why you want to squat up here in Hightown is beyond me.
I like the view.
So do I.
Three years. There's still no sign of Denarius. I'm beginning to wonder if he's finally given up.
This is his mansion, isn't it? He must know you're here.
Would you be surprised to learn that it isn't, in fact, his mansion? It belongs to a Tevinter merchant, one who has evidently given up on the place. Perhaps he is dead. Perhaps Denarius killed him. Either way, if Denarius is aware of my presence, he has done nothing.
Don't tell me you're going to miss all the attention.
Tell me, what do you do when you stop running?
You start over. Isn't that what you want?
I don't know how. My first memory is receiving these markings. The lyrium being branded into my flesh. The agony wiped away everything. Whatever life I had before I became a slave, it's lost. I shouldn't trouble you with this. My problems are not yours.
You don't know who you were?
Fenris was the name Denarius bestowed upon me, his little wolf. If I once had another name or a family, then they were taken from me. But again, this is not your concern.
I might be able to help with your problems. Or give you a few more.
Only a few.
The good kind.
Tempting. You're a beautiful woman, Hawke. Is there no one else who has your attention?
I didn't quite catch that first part.
I don't need to repeat the obvious, I'm certain. I'm an escaped slave and an elf, living in a borrowed mansion. None of those things bother you.
And I'm a refugee as well as a human. Does that bother you?
You have me there. You raise an interesting point. I'll have to consider it.
Don't come running to me next time you pick up one of these diseases.
Isn't that the point of magic?
I don't want to know.
Things just keep getting worse. I had Templars practically on my doorstep the other night.
The Templars are hunting you.
Not me specifically. They were just checking the refugee camps. But it's not like this place is a secret. It's only a matter of time.
Don't tell me these things. I might have to lock you up to keep them off you.
Sweetheart, I'm not letting anyone lock me up. You included. The Knight Commander is out of control. Even her own people have been talking about it. The curfews, the midnight raids on mages' families. Everyone I know forced into hiding so they won't be made tranquil.
If they want you, they'll have to come through me.
Just being with me puts you at risk. The Knight Commander has declared supporting apostates a hanging offense. The thought of them hurting you, everything I've done to control this. I don't care. I would drown us in blood to keep you safe.
I don't want to see you lose yourself. To the Templars or Justice.
How much is left if you strip both those out? I'm sorry. I can't be anyone but who I am. There will be more violence. I know that. If you tie yourself to me, I'll only hurt you.
You're getting in too deep here. And I can't follow.
It's better this way.
Is a very pretty name.
I'll tell her you said so, Daisy.
She can't actually hear you, can she?
Of course she can. What kind of question is that?
Wait, are we talking about your crossbow or something else now?
There's a letter for you. Strange how the messages never come while you're home.
A partially burned page from Anders' manifesto.
Last bottle of the Egregio. I've been saving it for a special occasion.
And what's that?
The anniversary of my escape. Astia Vala Femundis. Care to hear the story?
I thought you avoided talking about this.
Not on special occasions.
I enjoy listening to you talk.
There are few pleasures greater than speaking with a beautiful woman. Let's see. You've heard of Saharan? The Imperium and the Qunari have fought over the island for centuries now. I was there with Daenerys during a Qunari attack. I managed to get him to a ship, but there was no room for a slave. I was left behind. I barely got out of the city alive.
There's nothing like war for covering one's escape.
I had no intention of escaping. That time. There are rebels in the Saharan jungles called Fog Warriors. They found me and took me in, nursed me back to health. I stayed with them for a time, until Daenerys finally came for me.
He was relieved to see you'd survived, right?
Relieved to see his investment hadn't ended up in Qunari hands, perhaps. I'd grown fond of the rebels. They bowed to no master and fought for their freedom. It was beyond my experience. When Daenerys came, they refused to let him take me. He ordered me to kill them. So I did. I killed them all.
Once a slave, always a slave.
It felt inevitable. My master had returned and this fantasy life was over. But once it was done, I looked down at their bodies. I felt I couldn't. I ran and never looked back.
Gripping stuff. You should write it down.
You think they teach slaves how to write? I've never perhaps this is what it means to have a friend. But you are unlike any woman I have ever met. Last bottle of the Egregio. I've been saving it for a special occasion.
And what's that?
The anniversary of my escape. Astia Vala Firmundis. Care to hear the story?
I thought you avoided talking about this.
Not on special occasions.
I enjoy listening to you talk.
There are few pleasures greater than speaking with a beautiful woman. Let's see. You've heard of Saharan? The Imperium and the Qunari have fought over the island for centuries now. I was there with Daenerys during a Qunari attack. I managed to get him to a ship, but there was no room for a slave. I was left behind. I barely got out of the city alive.
I thought Daenerys considered you valuable.
He wasn't given a choice. The look on his face as the ship pulled out was priceless. There are rebels in the Saharan jungles called Fog Warriors. They found me and took me in, nursed me back to health. I stayed with them for a time, until Daenerys finally came for me.
Were you with these Fog Warriors willingly?
I'd grown fond of the rebels. They bowed to no master and fought for their freedom. It was beyond my experience. When Daenerys came, they refused to let him take me. He ordered me to kill them. So I did. I killed them all.
Why would you do such a thing?
It felt inevitable. My master had returned and this fantasy life was over. But once it was done, I looked down at their bodies. I felt I couldn't. I ran and never looked back.
Didn't Daenerys stop you?
The rebels had wounded him. The soldiers he brought attempted to capture me, unsuccessfully. It was weeks before Daenerys was able to mount the hunt in earnest. But by then, I was already gone.
Couldn't you have found other Fog Warriors? Become a rebel?
Even if I did, I felt unworthy. I had no way of knowing if I could truly escape from Daenerys then. I didn't even know what that meant. I simply had to get away. I stowed aboard a ship to the mainland and moved south, chased by my former master every step of the way.
How well did you know these fog warriors?
I knew them only a few months, but in that time, I felt as if I truly lived. They were bold, strong, free with their affections. I was in awe of them, and owed them everything. And I turned on them even so.
I have to wonder why you stayed with Daenerys as long as you did.
You have not been a slave. A slave does not dream of freedom or wonder at possibilities. You think only of your master's desires and what the next hour will bring. It did not occur to me that I could be anything else until I had a taste of it.
But there are stories of slaves rebelling all the time. They did in Kirkwall.
The ritual that gave me my markings also stripped me of my memory. Whatever I was before may as well have never been. Perhaps if I knew, I might have felt differently.
This can't be easy to talk about.
I've never spoken about what happened to anyone. I've never wanted to. Perhaps this is what it means to have a friend.
It might mean more than that.
I have never allowed anyone too close. When my markings were created, the pain was extraordinary, and the memory lingers. But you are unlike any woman I have ever met. With you, it might be different.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
If there was someone before, I have no memory of it.
There was no one after you escaped, even?
I stayed nowhere for long. Who would I trust? I didn't think I needed anyone, or wanted anyone, until now.
We could find out.
On another evening, perhaps. A last toast, then. To the fallen.